There's a moment in life, quiet, unannounced, when something inside you begins to turn. Not all at once, not with any drama, just a slow, invisible shift, the way the tide begins to turn long before anyone on the shore notices the water moving differently. And by the time you do notice, everything has already changed. You can't point to the exact day it started. There was no single event, no dramatic breakdown, just small things. A conversation that used to excite you now feels flat. A goal you chased for years suddenly feels distant, like watching your own life from somewhere just outside it. Carl Jung spent decades studying exactly this kind of quiet upheaval. Moments when the unconscious mind begins reorganizing itself, long before the conscious mind catches up. He believed this wasn't a breakdown. It was the beginning of something else entirely. And once you understand what's actually happening, you'll never see your own restlessness the same way again. It usually starts with the small things. The job that once felt secure now feels like a costume you put on each morning. The friendships that used to feel easy now require more energy than they give back. Nothing is technically wrong, and yet, somehow, everything feels slightly off. You find yourself standing in rooms full of people, smiling, nodding, saying all the right things, and feeling completely alone inside it. Not lonely because no one is there. Lonely because the version of you that's present in that room doesn't feel like the real one anymore. And underneath it, a strange kind of grief starts to surface. Not grief for something lost, grief for something that hasn't happened yet. A version of your life you sense is ending, even though you can't say what it's being replaced by. It's disorienting. It's also, as you'll see, exactly on schedule. Sleep changes too. Dreams become more vivid, sometimes strange. Water, doors, old houses, people from years ago appearing without warning. Most people dismiss this as random noise. Jung saw it as something else entirely. The unconscious mind sending up flares, trying to get the attention of a conscious mind that's been looking the other way. There's also a growing intolerance for small talk, for performance, for pretending things are fine when they're not. People notice you've gotten quieter, more direct, less willing to play along. Some take it personally. What they don't realize is that you're not pulling away from them. You're pulling towards something else. If any of this feels familiar, you're not broken, and you're not going crazy. You're standing at the edge of something psychologists have studied for over a century. A shift so universal it has a name, and so misunderstood that most people go through it completely alone, wondering what's wrong with them. To understand what's happening, you have to go back, not to last year, but to childhood. Somewhere along the way, you learned which parts of yourself were acceptable and which parts needed to be hidden to keep the people around you comfortable. You didn't choose this consciously. No child does. Maybe you learned that anger wasn't safe to show, or that needing too much made people pull away, or that being impressive mattered more than being honest. So you built a version of yourself that could survive, agreeable, capable, easy to be around. Jung called this the persona. It's not fake, but it was never meant to be the whole story. For years, that persona worked. It got you through school, through jobs, through relationships. It kept you safe. But personas have a limit. They're built for survival, not for depth. And somewhere around midlife, sometimes earlier, the parts of you that got left behind start knocking. Quietly at first. This is what's actually happening when life suddenly feels hollow, even though nothing is technically wrong. The persona that once protected you has become too small for who you're becoming. You haven't lost yourself. You're outgrowing a version of yourself that was built for a life you no longer fully live. And here's the part almost no one tells you. This pressure you feel, the restlessness, the dissatisfaction, the strange grief, isn't a malfunction. It's pressure building beneath the surface, the way water pulls back from shore right before a larger wave arrives. Something is forming. You just can't see it yet. Jung had a term for this entire process: the gradual, often uncomfortable unfolding of a person into who they actually are, beneath all the adaptations and masks. He called it individuation, and he believed it wasn't optional. It was the psyche's deepest agenda, whether you cooperate with it or not. Individuation isn't about becoming a better version of your persona. It's about becoming a fuller version of you, including the parts you were taught to hide, the talents you were told were impractical, the needs you learned to silence, the anger, the tenderness, the strangeness that never quite fit the role you were given. Jung believed the unconscious doesn't just store things, it actively works to bring them back into balance. When parts of you have been buried too long, the psyche starts generating pressure, restlessness, strange dreams, a growing inability to keep pretending. Not to punish you, to get your attention. He called the part of the mind responsible for this the transcendent function, the psyche's built-in ability to bridge the conscious and unconscious, to take two seemingly opposite parts of you and slowly weave them into something new. It's not mystical. It's how growth actually works, at a level deeper than willpower. This is why the timing of this shift rarely makes sense on paper. It doesn't wait for the right moment. It doesn't care that you just got the promotion or that things finally seem stable. The unconscious operates on its own schedule, one tied to your growth, not your convenience. Some people try to outrun this. They throw themselves into more work, a new relationship, a new city, anything to avoid the quiet. And for a while, it works. But the pressure doesn't disappear, it just waits. Jung observed that what we refuse to face internally tends to resurface externally, often in louder and more disruptive ways. But for those who slow down enough to actually listen to the dreams, the discomfort, the quiet pull towards something undefined, a different kind of journey begins. Not easier, but honest. And for the first time in a long while, it starts to feel like your life is finally yours. Here's the part most people aren't ready for. The thing pressing up from underneath isn't just a change in some vague sense. It's specific. It has a shape. Jung called this shape the shadow. Everything about you that got pushed out of view because it didn't fit who you were supposed to be. For some people, the shadow holds anger they were never allowed to express. For others, it's ambition they were taught to downplay, or sensitivity they learned to armor over, or a creative life they quietly gave up on. Whatever it is, it didn't disappear when you buried it. It's been waiting. And here's the moment of recognition. If you're honest with yourself, think about the thing you get irrationally irritated by in other people, the trait that bothers you far more than it should. Jung believed that it's often a mirror. We tend to react most strongly to what we've disowned in ourselves. Or think about the dream you quietly let go of, the one you tell yourself you're over. Notice how it still has a pull on you, a film about it, a conversation that brings it up, a small ache when someone else is living it. That ache isn't nostalgia. It's a part of you, still very much alive, asking to be let back in. This is the part of the process that feels the most uncomfortable. Not because anything is going wrong, but because you're finally seeing yourself clearly. The ambition you minimized, the needs you dismissed, the anger you swallowed. None of it makes you broken. It makes you whole for the first time in a long time. And this is exactly the moment most people get stuck. Because seeing the shadow is one thing, living with it, letting it back into your life without letting it run the show, is something else entirely. That's not a single decision, it's a practice. And it's where the real transformation begins. The first shift is small. And it has nothing to do with making big life changes. It's simply this. When the discomfort rises, you stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what this is trying to show me. That single change in the question changes everything that follows. The second shift is learning to notice your dreams again. Not to interpret every detail obsessively, but to simply pay attention. Jung kept detailed records of his own dreams for decades. He believed they were messages from a part of yourself that knows things your waking mind hasn't caught up to yet. The third shift is more uncomfortable. Learning to sit with the things you used to numb. The quiet evening without a screen. The drive without music. The moments where, instead of reaching for distraction, you simply let yourself feel whatever is there. Most people are shocked by how much has been waiting underneath. The fourth shift is recognizing which relationships were built around your old persona and being honest about which ones can grow with you and which ones quietly depended on you staying small. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about no longer shrinking yourself to keep the peace. The fifth shift is allowing yourself to want things again without immediately explaining them away. The hobby that seems pointless, the career change that seems impractical. The creative project has no guaranteed outcome. Jung believed these impulses, however impractical they seem, often carry messages from the deepest part of you. The sixth shift is learning to tolerate not knowing. This process doesn't arrive with a map. There's no clear 5-year plan waiting on the other side. What there is instead is a growing sense of alignment. Small moments where your choices finally feel like they're coming from you, not from the role you've been playing. And slowly, almost without noticing, the restlessness starts to change shape. It's still there sometimes, but it no longer feels like something is wrong. It starts to feel like momentum, like something in you finally moving in the direction it was always meant to go. People around you might notice before you do. They'll say you seem different, calmer somehow, even when things are objectively harder. What they're sensing is the gap closing between who you've been showing the world and who you actually are. That gap is where most of our exhaustion has always lived. This doesn't mean the old parts of you disappear. The persona that protected you for so long doesn't need to be destroyed, just demoted. It becomes one part of you instead of the whole of you. A coat you can put on or take off instead of a second skin you can never remove. And here's what Jung understood that most people never get told. This process doesn't end. Individuation isn't a destination you arrive at and stay. It's closer to a relationship you keep returning to, again and again, for the rest of your life. Each time, a little more of you comes home. So if you've been feeling this, the restlessness, the quiet grief, the sense that something inside you is shifting, even though your life looks the same from the outside, understand what's actually happening. You are not falling apart. You are reorganizing at a level most people never get to witness in themselves. The discomfort you feel isn't a sign that something has gone wrong with your life. It's a sign that your life is finally catching up to who you've actually become. And that catching up process, however slow, however uncomfortable, is one of the most honest things a person can go through. You don't have to have this figured out today. You don't need a 5-step plan or a dramatic announcement to anyone. What you need is simply this: permission to notice what's been trying to get your attention, and the willingness to stop arguing with it. Because the truth is, the version of you that's trying to emerge right now isn't a stranger. It's not someone new you have to become. It's someone you already were once, before the world taught you which parts of yourself were safe to show. This isn't a step forward into the unknown. It's a return. Jung once wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who you were trained to be, not who keeps the peace, who you actually are, underneath all of it. And that privilege isn't reserved for a select few. It's available the moment you stop resisting the tide. If you've made it this far, some part of you already recognizes this. Maybe you felt this shift for months, maybe years. Maybe it's only just beginning. Wherever you are in it, you're not behind and you're not too late. This isn't a race. It never was. The tide doesn't ask permission to turn. It doesn't wait for the right moment or for everyone on shore to be ready. It simply turns, quietly, completely, and on its own schedule. And once it does, nothing on that shoreline looks quite the same again. Something inside you has already begun to turn. You may not be able to name it yet. You may not feel ready, but it's happening. Quietly, persistently, exactly as it's supposed to. And one day, not too far from now, you'll look back at this moment and understand it was the beginning.